Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are skipping the complicated tech jargon and complex diagrams. Instead, we're looking at a source that brilliantly demystifies ChatGPT by looking through the eyes of a rustic village grandfather. It's a completely non-technical, almost storybook perspective. And honestly, it might just be the absolute best way to understand the true power of AI. Let's get right into it.
Meet our guide, a charming, tech-curious grandfather living in a quiet rural village. The setup here is just fantastic. Basically, he gets his hands on a pretty dry manual about the good points of ChatGPT. But instead of reading it like a boring textbook, he uses his own vivid imagination to explain it to the village children and elders. He literally gathers everyone under a big persimmon tree to tell them a story, transforming sterile bullet points into something totally captivating. It's a real masterclass in making complex stuff super accessible.
So before getting into the how-to, the grandfather completely redefines what this technology is. He doesn't call it a large language model or a neural network. No way. He introduces ChatGPT as a friendly entity he affectionately calls Mr. AI. And you know, this perfectly captures a core truth about the tech. It converses naturally, just like a human. Whether you need it to summarize a dense story for work, or, and absolutely love this, you just want to brainstorm ingredients for traditional Japanese stuffed dumplings like oyaki, Mr. AI is right there as your versatile, cozy daily assistant.
To win over the village elders, the grandfather breaks the magic down into 4 overwhelmingly easy secrets. There's no programming needed, it offers versatile support all in one screen, it's super easy to use via a smartphone app, and the basic features are completely free to start. These are the exact reasons this tech is perfectly accessible to absolute beginners. So let's look at how he explains each of these points to the village, starting with the very first one.
For that first secret, the grandfather draws a really smart comparison between traditional search engines or dictionaries, where you have to guess the exact right keywords, and Mr. AI, who understands vague conversational intent. He tells the elders, look, you can just say, explain this to a middle schooler, and Mr. AI will instantly adjust its language, tone, and complexity. It actually grasps human intention, which makes it incredibly forgiving and just, well, easy to talk to.
Moving on to the second reason, versatile support. All on a single screen without ever having to switch between different websites or clunky software, Mr. AI can write and summarize texts, brainstorm those delicious new oyaki recipe ideas, translate foreign languages, and even act as a sounding board for your daily life worries. The grandfather is showing everyone that Mr. AI isn't just a calculator or a trivia machine. It's a remarkably well-rounded companion that handles a massive variety of everyday needs.
And the third reason Mr. AI is so easy? Incredible mobility. This grounds the technology right in the physical world. You are not chained to a bulky desktop computer indoors. The grandfather explains that with the smartphone app on iOS or Android, you can use voice input to literally just talk to Mr. AI. Or use your camera to snap a photo, all while you're standing out in the vegetable field doing farm work. It fits into your life exactly where you are.
Then there's the fourth reason, and this one really wins over the village. The cost, or rather the total lack of it. The grandfather reassures them that they don't need to worry about their wallets. High-performance, top-tier models, like the latest GPT-4o, are available to start using completely for free. This removes that final barrier to entry. Anyone, regardless of their budget, can experience world-class artificial intelligence.
So with the village now entirely captivated and definitely no longer afraid of the technology, a natural question pops up. The grandfather anticipates this perfectly. He says, but how do we ask Mr. AI to write something good? Because, having the tool is one thing, but knowing how to talk to it is another entirely. He promises to teach them 3 simple tricks. This is where it gets really fun, smoothly shifting us from the what and why into the practical how-to, all while keeping that warm storytelling vibe.
These 3 tips are basically prompt engineering, but completely stripped of all that intimidating jargon. First tip, speak naturally, as if you're just chatting over tea. You don't need stiff, robotic commands. Second, specify the audience. Tell Mr. AI exactly who will be reading this, like a distant grandchild, so it can tailor the complexity. And third, add a feeling or vibe. Do you want it to be energetic? Do you want it written in a specific regional dialect, like the Nagano dialect? The whole point here is context, audience, and tone. It's the exact same stuff we use when we talk to other humans.
This perfectly illustrates how those 3 tips come together in the real world. Here is the grandfather's actual request. He says, Mr. AI, write a letter to my distant grandchild about sending vegetables from the field. Make it warm and use Nagano dialect. It's incredibly simple, right? But it contains absolutely everything Mr. AI needs.
It's conversational, it specifies the audience, his distant grandchild, and it nails down the vibe, asking for a warm tone using the local Nagano dialect.
Let's see how Mr. AI responded. The letter it generates reads, I harvested splendid eggplants and pumpkins. I made oyaki with Mr. AI's help, and it was so delicious your cheeks will fall off. I'm sending you some. I just absolutely love that detail. So delicious your cheeks will fall off. It is spot on. It perfectly captures that warm, rustic tone of the grandfather. It brings in specific details of the harvest, and it feels deeply personal. It just proves that if you use those 3 simple tricks, you don't get a robotic, generic response. You get a really heartfelt, tailored message.
But hey, the interaction doesn't stop there. One of the villagers chimes in and asks, "Can we add the oyaki recipe to the letter?" The grandfather just beams and says, "Of course we can." That's the beauty of Mr. AI. If you want to change something, you don't have to start over from scratch. You just intuitively continue the conversation. You just ask it to revise and add the new information, exactly like you would if you were drafting a letter with a friend sitting right next to you.
So, Mr. AI smoothly generates this mouth-watering cheese miso oyaki recipe to seamlessly drop into the letter. Just listen to these steps. Chopping and frying the eggplant and pumpkin from the harvest, turning off the heat to mix in miso and cheese, wrapping it gently in a traditional flour dough, and pan-frying it until it's a beautiful golden brown. The amazing thing here is that Mr. AI didn't just spit out some generic recipe from the internet, it created one utilizing the exact vegetables the grandfather mentioned earlier in the conversation.
The updated letter blends that new recipe right into the narrative flawlessly. It wraps up with this really beautiful thought. When you visit on your day off, let's sit on the porch, make this together, and chat with Mr. AI. Stay warm. The true magic here isn't just the text generation, it's the emotional resonance. The technology isn't replacing human connection, it's actively facilitating it. It bridges the gap between a rural grandfather and his distant grandchild, blending traditional family cooking with modern AI assistance. And that brings us to the end of our storybook journey. We've seen how potentially intimidating, highly advanced technology can become as comforting and accessible as a chat under a persimmon tree. By treating it like a helpful friend, specifying your audience, and guiding the tone, literally anyone can master this tool. So I want to leave you with a final thought to take away from this explainer today. Now that you know the grandfather's secrets, who are you going to write a letter to with your own Mr. AI?